DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. So much going on. It does feel like a long weekend, doesn't it, PK? I mean, we did get Kevin called us up. What are you guys doing here on a Friday? Thursday's a holiday. Saturday and Sunday the weekend. What are you doing? There is so much going on. We got like 3 shows worth of material here, and we're just wedging it all into one.
Yeah, I'm sad the way the thing that transpired with Utah, but man, from a story standpoint, I'm grateful.
Right. We'll get into this maybe a little more, but more bruised feelings than anybody wants to admit in public. Which the Kyle quote was so buttoned up, it kind of screamed that that's the way it was.
I mean, I got a text, and I'm just saying this. I don't believe it necessarily because I don't know all the details. I don't know the nitty gritty right down to literally
who said what and when and where and to who and
organization
and in what tone
was used for me.
Right, classless organization.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's. And I told somebody, I said, well, fortunately, I don't have firsthand experience. I've got secondhand experience, but divorces are often messy.
Yes, true.
Yeah, I can't put a number on it, but it seems to me that when that happens, are we really surprised when things go like that? And what a marriage it was, and nevertheless, that's what we have here. And so he's taking guys, and fans, and other folks around. Inside, employed by the university, come on here, blah, blah, blah. It's just, I can sit back because here's where I'm not a Ute fan. I'm a fan of Morgan Scalley. I'm a fan of Whittingham. I'm a fan of, I want to see Mark Harlan do well for that matter. I talked to him. I saw him. I rode elevators with him. Obviously, as soon as I got on the elevator, the first guy to come in was Mark Harlan. So I didn't talk to him long, but I like the guy. And want to see the U of U do well. It doesn't serve us any purpose to not have these schools do well. Absolutely not. Obviously, we said that for 2 decades. I want to see these guys win. They're good storylines. And plus, I've gotten to know people, and I root for people. Who doesn't root for people? So with all that in mind, but nevertheless, it's gotten a little nasty and going back and forth. And that's what you're going to have to deal with. And Scalley's going to have to get a guy in there and get his staff going and win ball games come next August and September.
I think the person who comes out in all of this looking smart, although I already knew he was smart, is Chris Hill, who went through a messy breakup with Ron McBride and put the clause in Kyle's contract, which I think has been modified over time. But basically, Kyle at one point had, I can't remember, 7 years or 10 years at 10% of his income, because Chris could foresee this happening again and thinking, how do you smooth it out so there's a soft landing spot so this doesn't happen? And ultimately, a storyline came up that none of us would have predicted a few years ago or even a few months ago with Michigan, but here we are. But Chris could see it. Chris could see it getting ugly. It didn't. He didn't take much imagination to think this is kind of going down the same road as Ronnie Mack.
And it has, to a degree.
All right, DJ PK, it's time to welcome in David Locke, radio voice of the Utah Jazz. David, good morning.
Good morning, DJ and PK. Friday, 2 of the greatest of all time, but I've been awake for 1 minute, and I'm on 4 hours and 42 minutes of sleep. So today, thank you to me for doing the show. Thank you to me for getting up and waking up when Jake Hatch texts and says, can you do DJ and PK on Friday? Yeah, I can do DJ and PK because I love them and care about them this much. Okay. Well, good morning.
Good morning.
We shared a hug on New Year's Day.
So
or New Year's Eve.
I just got asked this about NBA travel. Did they change NBA travel so that you travel? They used to travel the night after the game when they started doing charters. But did they decide that was bad for sleep? Are they now traveling on the day off?
Depends. I think it all depends on circumstances, and depends on cities.
How far you're flying, when the next game is, that kind of thing.
Right. So when we tonight or last, and there's not always a rhyme or reason totally. We flew last night. We just had actually like one of those annoying, like, you remember when your little brother, I didn't have a little brother, but I watched my I watched my son do this to his sister at one point. You know, when you like your brother or sister sat next to you on the car and like decided, I'm going to tap you for the whole hour drive and see if it bothers you kind of thing. Like that was our travel last night. Like, I don't know what happened outside the tarmac in LA, but we sat there for, I think 30 minutes before we got let in. And then we were a little slow getting off the ground. And then when we got to San Francisco, we just had a weird thing with our luggage where we usually all go and get the luggage off the plane and put on the bus, and they wouldn't let us. So I know we all just sat there for like 30 minutes, and then we all had to sit for 30 minutes when the luggage came. And so next thing you know, we were in 3:00 in the morning. So, and 7:30 start in LA. But I think like this trip, we did that, but I think we stay here after the Warrior game. We go to Portland, and then like after Portland, I'm pretty certain we stay before we go to Oklahoma City. On that one, it's because then you'd lose 2 hours, right? Flying at night. And so it's not worth it. So you fly the next day, and it's because you're going to Oklahoma City. And so why would you want to get there early? I think it a little bit depends on what city you're going to, what the circumstances are around the travel. But usually if we're going, I don't know, there's not a usually anymore. I would say that. Like there's a little bit of, if you're between Detroit and Cleveland, jump on a plane. No one's going to sleep anyway, and the flight's 35 minutes. So it's sometimes if the flight is short enough and the guys aren't going to go to sleep anyway, then you might as well just get them there and they'll go to sleep at the same time. If it's losing a bunch of time, then you might as well do it the next day.
Do you think going forward, as we're approaching the midway point of the season and that draft pick is looming out there, and man, when they play well, they look like a pretty good team, so you could have an opportunity to rack some victories up. Do you think that if there's a sneeze and they have any legitimate reason to sit guys going forward, do you think that's what we'll see?
Yeah, I don't know. The big thing this year, right, has been that the culture's been built, and that at least in my mind, that Jordan, Colin, and John left, and they left the oxygen in the room available, and it's been grabbed, right? And these guys have, particularly Keontae, obviously, have played with such zest and togetherness, and that you don't want to lose that in the process. But I mean, I think there's also, you're kind of caught, right? We're probably, you're not a playing team, or if you are, you're, playing team for a day. And you're probably not a top 6 playoff team. And so I guess you could do it that way. I think, and you want your pick. So I guess it could be if you have any, and there also might be the way the injuries are in the league right now, there might be some real value to just trying to figure this out. Like there's something going on in the league right now that's not good. And we don't have a load management problem anymore. We just have a really serious injury problem. And I don't know if you can figure something out as a team this year, but if you can, it would be really valuable.
I wanted to ask you about the injuries. Wembanyama, who seems to have avoided a major injury, but he's out for a little while nonetheless. And Jokic, who seems to have avoided a season-ending injury, but is going to miss at least a month. And now they've lost his backup. Is it just bad luck?
No, I think I'm really concerned. We're playing, 100 to 105 possessions a night instead of 90. If you go back and remember where all three of us are old enough, and considering what city I'm in, if you remember Run TMC with Don Nelson and the Warriors here in San Francisco, or they were in Oakland at the time, they used to play 5 to 10 possessions more than everyone else in the league, and they also had way more injuries than everyone else. So, I mean, just on the simple thing is like every 5 games where these guys are playing the equivalent of a sixth to what they used to do. Then the fact that all 5 players now can dribble, pass, and shoot mean you're just covering so much more ground defensively than you ever used to. Then couple that with the amount of shooting that we're doing, of 3-point shooting, so that you're closing out at a rate that you didn't used to. I'm very concerned that we have a game that's breaking the players, and really without much of an answer. But you can look at the hyperextension of Wembanyama's knee. It just seems like it's just circumstantial, and Jokic is, Jones steps back into his foot and causes it. But on the other end, we have all these calf strains, and the calf strain is either Tom Haberstroh wrote a piece that it might be related to the step back era that these have all started, but also every single player in the league now takes a step back, and that's where a lot of that pressure is, or you're exploding coming off a step back. I don't know, I didn't stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night, so I don't have all these answers. But this is my, for all the things that this league talks about, and I do think there's a phenomenon. It will happen next week when the national talk show hosts don't have any NFL that's interesting to talk about, so then they just bag on the NBA for a week. Last year it was about TV ratings. It was a total there was just no truth to the conversation. A few years ago it was something else. There was really nothing to the conversation. The injury one I think is actually real. We'll have a tanking conversation this year. It'll start on Monday when Clay Travis and Colin Cowherd, those guys have nothing to talk about because the NFL is the wild card week, and they'll bag on the NBA and do it on either gambling or tanking. Neither of those I think are legitimate. I do think the injury issue is really legitimate.
When I was watching the game, what was it, Friday night, the Detroit Pistons game, and Cade Cunningham hits those 2 free throws with, about 2 seconds to go. I know the Jazz had an opportunity to get off a good shot.
Yeah,
I thought
there's more time on that just because I remember my call being that you got to make sure you don't leave any time on the clock. So I think there was 9. I think there's 9 or 10 seconds.
Okay, when he took the shot, yeah. But the best part of that was as they took the ball out, I thought to myself, oh, the ball, George is going to get the ball, and he's going to go down, he's going to make a move, and he's going to score. And it was almost like it naturally just kicked in with me that's immediately what my thought process was, that this is what is going to happen. And I thought from the Jazz perspective, oh, no problem here. He's going to get a good shot. And I felt very confident about him taking the shot. And just because that was my thought process as the game ended, I thought that's interesting. So I'm having this conversation with myself, and I'm thinking, man, I immediately went to that like that was the guarantee, not knowing he was going to make it, but he was going to take it and it was going to be a good shot. And then, of course, he makes it. And I'm thinking, wow, if that's what I'm thinking, then obviously the powers that be, that's what they're thinking. That's what the team is thinking. And that truly is a big time positive, because I don't know that I ever would have thought that 2 months ago, but here we are this year right now at this time. And I immediately went to that. That to me shows my confidence in the young man. Only can imagine what Will Hardy and his guys and the team has in this young man. And I think that's the number one story for the Jazz this year, as far as I'm concerned.
That's a really interesting perspective, interesting thought. And you're right, because what we would have done in the past is put Lowry on the elbow and try to get him isolated, and he'd get a not very good shot because that's not his game. And his move was sick. Like, go back and watch that move. I mean, that crossover is something else. And to be able to have, that's where just, okay, he's matured in a lot of things. He's just physically so different. His explosion's different. His strength is different. His athleticism is different. To be able to make that move, that crossover with the feet spread and the body wide, and then being able to explode to his left, to be able to get in the lane, snake it back right, to be able to hit that floater. I mean, that was sick. I mean, he faked the hell out of me actually on the play. He's the story of the season. And if he is start looking at third-year guards in the NBA and the last 20 years who've had this kind of season. And it's, the game's a little different. We're playing a little faster, but the efficiency is not. Something different about the efficiency. He's in the list. Like, it's Dame, it's Don. He's actually better than both those. If you take it's Luka, not quite. It's Cade Cunningham from 3 years ago. I mean,
I was thinking of Tim Hardaway from back in the day.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, he went last 20 years, and that's probably more. But another good San Francisco reference. And it changes everything. Like, on what are the goals of this season? I think the goal of this season, or, when you look at this season, there's probably 4 things that matter this year was, Lowry kind of getting back to all-star form is done. You needed to see if anybody could emerge. Keontae's gone well beyond that. It's awesome. You need Ace Bailey just to kind of learn. That's going well. I thought he had a dip. I thought he hit the rookie wall. I thought he had a dip the last 10 games. And then, frankly, you need your pick. Those are the items. And then, the other crew is all getting better. They have some moments where it kind of goes both ways. You have some games where you get in doubt and you worry. And I'm not sure which of the other, guys are going to be NBA rotation players. I'm also after watching Walker and Keontae burst in their third years, I'm kind of willing to wait and not make a lot of decisions yet. I mean, Keontae was pretty terrible the last 2 years. 40% from the field and 39% from the field and 31% from three. Like his trajectory was not great. There were very few players who've had Keontae's numbers in the first 2 years of an NBA season and gone on to be good NBA players. And he's beyond a good NBA player right now.
If somebody wanted to get really aggressive and try something new to combat all the injuries while at the same time possibly tanking, although they would never use that word, maybe they would take their best players and only play them 25 minutes a game. There's so many more possessions. If that's true, if playing 33 minutes is really the equivalent of playing 42 minutes back in the day, play everybody 25 and sit them and protect their long-term health and maybe get a little data and see if that makes any positive, if that helps in any positive way at all. And in the meantime, if it caused you to lose a few more games in a year, you're trying to save a draft pick, that wouldn't be all bad. But if the league ever called to explain, you say, hey, we're trying this and here's why.
If I was the front office right now, I would have my analytics department running when every injury is happening. Like trying to figure out, are they happening early in games? Are they happening late in games? Is there any trend at all? Are they happening on the fourth game in 7 nights? Are they happening on back-to-backs? Are they happening, are they happening in the fourth quarter? I would be running, the sample size is probably too small to get a lot of data, but if you got any indicator at all of something, is it happening after a player sits for a long period of time? Is it happening after a player sits for a short period of time? I would be running every scenario right now. AI allows you to do it. That would be the number one thing I'd be looking at if I was an NBA team.
Of these dudes that are in their second year, and you're talking about the third year, and there's obviously, I guess there's only really 2 of them if you take Hendricks out of the mix, if you don't want to count that. I guess it just goes down to what,
Cody, Flip, and Isaiah.
Okay.
And then I think Taylor counts as a second-year player.
Okay. So we're counting him as a second-year player then, which is, I guess,
right,
is fair given the fact that he missed virtually the entire season. Who gives you the most promise? I don't think that they would take a George-like jump. That would be amazing in year 3. But who gives you the most promise that there could be a decent-sized jump, I guess?
Cody Williams.
And why is that?
Well, I like him. I like these skills out of the draft, and maybe I like some of this stuff too much, but he really has a good explosion. He has a superb 1-foot jump. Like elite NBA, drive to the basket, get off 1 foot, and get up. Like, you just don't see it that often. And I think he can be really good defensively. I don't know if he has mentality to be really good defensively, but I think he can be really good defensively. So 2 things have to happen. He has to continue to fix his body so that when he uses that elite athleticism, he's going to the basket, he doesn't lose his line. And then 2, his shot's awful. But he's, I think it's like he's shooting below 20% in his career on corner threes. But there is a chance, like, he's not quite this player. Don't misunderstand this. But Detroit and Houston have found a way to use Amon Thompson and Asor Thompson, who can't shoot at all. They both can handle a little better than Cody, so that would be the weakness, and they're both probably better athletes. But because they're so good defensively, I think They play him in the dunker spot a lot. They play him out of the corner slashing. I wonder if there's a way to use Cody in that fashion, because his athletic skills are really, really special. He's 6'7" with a 7-foot wingspan. He can really defend. And maybe I'm seeing too much of them. I'm just still worried on some of the gaps in Collier and Filipowski's games that Will Hardy had an interesting quote last year that basically was like, you've got to make sure, and this goes for Cody as well, all three of these guys, you've got to make sure your weaknesses aren't so bad that they like torpedo the team. So like that if you're so bad defensively that every single time down the floor they go after you, well, it doesn't really matter what our defensive schemes are. If they're just they're not running plays anymore, they're just calling you up to take you on an island and go at you. And if offensively you're so limited that the other team like doesn't run their usual defensive scheme, so then your plays don't work because they go under every pick and roll, whether you're at 15 feet or 30 feet, that gets hard to run an offense. And I get a little worried on both Flip and Isaiah Collier that some of those weaknesses could continue to be fairly significant for their careers. But I think both of them have a really good chance to be, at worst, 15 to 20 minute a night NBA players. Collier's probably got a chance to be really, really, really good. Like Collier's probably got the biggest upside of any of these three guys. That speed is special. But he's in his second year. I think maybe I'm being too harsh on Collier and Filipowski because I'm seeing a lot of them. But, there was a sequence of plays the other night in the game where Isaiah missed Freelancer missed 3 straight rotations that allowed threes, like in literally a 4 or 5 play stretch. And you just see that and you're kind of like, hey, what's going on here? And like the one that I'll say on Isaiah is he doesn't always play with the best lineups, and he often plays with Keontae off the floor, but like his plus minus is just awful this year. Like more so than you would think. Like I was really stunned because I really felt like Isaiah's had this incredible positive impact and the offense has surged since he's started playing and our paint touches are way up because of Isaiah. And then you look at the overtime plus minus and it tells the exact opposite story. And then if you watch closer, here I go. Like there are too many mistakes here, and mistakes lead to points the other way, and that's a problem. And so I'm a little concerned on some of the second layer stuff on Isaiah right now, but his overall skill level's pretty special. So again, second year player probably figures it out, and then you really got something. But I've got a building on Cody Island. We're struggling to find people that are willing to insert plumbing, and carpenters aren't actually readily available because it's pretty deserted. But I'm still on Cody Island.
Well, I just hope the bathroom then is not an outhouse.
It is right now. I mean, the guy had the worst rookie year of any player in NBA history and is shooting 20% from three. There's not a lot of people that are booking their vacations, and my commerce and economy is not high, but I still believe.
Things are changing. They're coming your way, David. Keep believing.
Yeah. I mean, we had these really gorgeous moments when the gray skies part and the island's beautiful, and it looks like it has a prosperous future. I'm invested, I believe.
Okay. There you go. David, we'll leave it right there. Thanks for getting up on 4.5 hours sleep to talk to us.
For you, too, of course. I got to see PK the Great in person. That was pretty awesome. Nice surprise. My wife was so excited. She's like, PK just went by. PK just went by.
David was at the Vegas Bowl. His your daughter was doing play-by-play on the football game for Nebraska Student Radio, and you were the analyst. Did you mess it up? Did you talk over?
Not once, but not a lot. I was nervous, though. I'm not lying to you. You guys both understand. It's a broadcast. You're trying to do a good job.
Yep.
It was not something I regularly do, so it was a little nerve-wracking.
I thought it was extremely cool. Your daughter is an exemplary young lady.
Oh, you're nice. Yeah, it was really cool. And post-game was really cool. When it was done and you suddenly realized what you had been a part of, that was magnificently special and never to be forgotten.
And her advisor was there, a teacher, professor?
One of her professors is also a columnist, but she teaches one of the classes. So,
well, that lady took me out into the hallway and just spent about 10, 15 minutes praising your daughter.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's really sweet. Yeah, she's working hard. It's good, fun to see. Hopefully she keeps working. You and I, we all three of us know, like if you work at this business, it can be great. So she's got to do that, and hopefully she will. That's sweet. But thank you for sharing that, PK.
Thank you, David.
See you guys.
DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Coming up next, everything you missed in this show. Getting up late after the holiday, we'll tell you all about it. Tons of football, Utes, Cougars, college playoff games. It's all next. Coaching staff changes. Stay with us.